Let us begin with public corporations. This is a very important topic in government. It appears in your exams every single year. By the end of this lesson, you will understand the meaning of public corporations, the reasons for establishing public corporations, the functions of public corporations, the structure of public corporations, the control of public corporations, the problems facing public corporations, commercialization and privatization, and how to answer exam questions. Take your notes. Let us go. First, what is a public corporation? A public corporation is a statutory body established by an Act of Parliament to provide specific services to the public. It is also called a statutory corporation or public enterprise. Public corporations are owned by the government. They are funded by the government, but they operate with some independence. They have their own boards of directors and management. They are not part of the civil service. Employees of public corporations are not civil servants. Examples of public corporations in Nigeria include the Nigerian Ports Authority, or NPA, the Power Holding Company of Nigeria, now called the Transmission Company of Nigeria, the Nigerian Railway Corporation, the Nigerian Telecommunications Limited, which has been privatized, and many others. Public corporations are different from government ministries. Ministries are part of the civil service. They are directly controlled by ministers. Public corporations have more autonomy. They are managed by boards. They can make decisions without waiting for ministerial approval. They are also different from private companies. Private companies are owned by shareholders. They aim to make a profit. Public corporations are owned by the government. They aim to provide services, not necessarily to make a profit. Now let me explain the reasons for establishing public corporations. Governments create public corporations for several reasons. The first reason is to provide essential services. Some services are too important to be left to the private sector. Water, electricity, transportation, and telecommunications are essential. The government ensures that everyone has access, not just those who can pay. The second reason is to prevent exploitation. Private companies might charge high prices for essential services. Public corporations can provide services at lower cost. They are not driven by profit. The third reason is to protect national security. Some industries are vital for national defense. The government controls them through public corporations. The fourth reason is to control natural monopolies. Some industries have high infrastructure costs. It would be wasteful to have many competitors. One company can serve the whole market more efficiently. The government runs these natural monopolies as public corporations. The fifth reason is to promote economic development. Private investors may be unwilling to invest in large, expensive projects. The government can use public corporations to build infrastructure, develop industries, and create jobs. The sixth reason is to provide employment. Public corporations employ many people. They help to reduce unemployment. The seventh reason is to generate revenue for the government. Some public corporations make profits. They pay dividends to the government. This revenue can be used for other purposes. The eighth reason is to implement government policy. Public corporations can be used to achieve social and economic goals. For example, they can locate industries in underdeveloped areas. They can promote local content and indigenization. Now let me explain the functions of public corporations. Public corporations have several functions. The first function is to provide essential services. They supply water, electricity, transportation, and communication. The second function is to promote economic development. They build roads, ports, railways, and power stations. They stimulate economic activity. The third function is to control strategic industries. They manage oil, gas, and mining. These industries are important for national security and revenue. The fourth function is to provide social services. Some public corporations provide health, education, and housing. The fifth function is to regulate the economy. Public corporations can control prices and production. They can prevent shortages and surpluses. Now let me explain the structure of public corporations. Public corporations have a formal structure. The minister is responsible for the corporation to the parliament. The minister appoints the board of directors. The board sets policy. The board appoints the management. The management runs the day-to-day operations. The general manager or managing director is the head of management. The corporation also has a chief accountant and other departmental heads. The board of directors is the governing body. It is responsible for the overall direction of the corporation. It approves budgets, sets policies, and appoints senior management. The board is supposed to be independent. It should not interfere in day-to-day management. The management implements the policies set by the board. It hires staff, manages operations, and delivers services. The staff are employees of the corporation. They are not civil servants. They are hired under different conditions. Now let me explain the control of public corporations. Public corporations are controlled by several bodies. The first control is ministerial control. The minister responsible for the corporation appoints the board. The minister can give policy directives. The minister can demand reports. The minister can remove board members for misconduct. The second control is parliamentary control. The parliament creates the corporation by law. The parliament can amend the law. The parliament can question ministers about the corporation. The parliament can investigate the corporation through committees. The third control is financial control. The government provides funding to the corporation. The corporation must submit its budget for approval. The corporation must submit audited accounts. The Auditor General audits the corporation's accounts. The fourth control is judicial control. Citizens can sue the corporation if it violates the law. The courts can declare the corporation's actions illegal. The fifth control is public control. The public can express their views through the media, protests, and petitions. They can complain to their representatives. They can withhold support. Now let me explain the problems facing public corporations. Public corporations in Nigeria face many problems. The first problem is political interference. Ministers and politicians interfere in the management of corporations. They appoint unqualified people to boards. They pressure managers to give contracts to friends. This reduces efficiency. The second problem is corruption. Public corporations are often used for personal enrichment. Officials steal money. They award contracts at inflated prices. They employ unqualified relatives. The third problem is inefficiency. Public corporations are often slow and inefficient. They provide poor services. They lose money. They rely on government subsidies. The fourth problem is overstaffing. Public corporations often employ more people than they need. Staff are underutilized. The wage bill is high. The fifth problem is poor management. Managers are often unqualified. They are appointed for political reasons, not for their skills. They do not know how to run a business. The sixth problem is lack of accountability. Board members and managers are not held responsible for poor performance. They continue to receive salaries even when the corporation fails. The seventh problem is poor funding. Many public corporations are underfunded. They cannot maintain equipment. They cannot invest in new technology. They provide poor services. The eighth problem is outdated equipment. Many public corporations use old, broken equipment. They cannot provide reliable services. The ninth problem is lack of competition. Public corporations are often monopolies. They have no incentive to improve. Customers have no alternative. Now, let me explain commercialization and privatization. These are reforms designed to address the problems of public corporations. Commercialization is the reform of public corporations to make them operate like businesses. They are expected to cover their costs and make a profit. They are given more autonomy. They can set prices. They can make management decisions without political interference. Commercialized corporations are still owned by the government, but they are expected to be self-sufficient. Privatization is the transfer of ownership of public corporations to the private sector. The government sells its shares to private investors. The corporation becomes a private company. Privatization has several benefits. It improves efficiency. Private companies have profit incentives to reduce costs and improve quality. It reduces government spending. The government no longer has to subsidize the corporation. It also raises revenue. The government gets money from the sale of shares. It also promotes competition. Private companies compete for customers. This leads to better service and lower prices. Nigeria has privatized many public corporations. The Nigerian Telecommunications Limited was privatized. It became MTN Nigeria and other private telecom companies. This led to a revolution in mobile phone service. The electricity company has been partially privatized. Generation and distribution companies were sold to private investors. The transmission company remains under government control. The Nigerian Ports Authority has been commercialized. It operates as a business. The Nigerian Railway Corporation is being commercialized and partially privatized. Privatization also has disadvantages. It can lead to job losses. Private companies may lay off workers to reduce costs. It can lead to higher prices. Private companies may increase prices to make higher profits. It can reduce access for the poor. Private companies may not serve unprofitable areas. The government must regulate private companies to protect consumers. A common exam question asks you to define public corporations and state the reasons for establishing them. Here is a sample answer. A public corporation is a statutory body established by an Act of Parliament to provide specific services to the public. The reasons for establishing public corporations include providing essential services, preventing exploitation, protecting national security, controlling natural monopolies, promoting economic development, providing employment, generating revenue for the government, and implementing government policy. Another exam question asks you to discuss the structure and control of public corporations. Here is your answer. The structure includes a minister, a board of directors, management, and staff. The minister appoints the board. The board sets policy. The management implements policy. The staff delivers services. Control is exercised by the minister, parliament, financial audits, the courts, and the public. Each control mechanism ensures that the corporation serves the public interest. Another exam question asks you to identify the problems facing public corporations in Nigeria. Here is your answer. The problems include political interference, corruption, inefficiency, overstaffing, poor management, lack of accountability, poor funding, outdated equipment, and lack of competition. These problems have led to poor service delivery and financial losses. Reforms like commercialization and privatization have been introduced to address these problems. Another exam question asks you to explain commercialization and privatization. Here is your answer. Commercialization is the reform of public corporations to operate like businesses. They must cover costs and make a profit. Privatization is the transfer of ownership to the private sector. Commercialization keeps ownership with the government. Privatization transfers ownership to private investors. Both reforms aim to improve efficiency and reduce government spending. Nigeria has used both to reform its public corporations. Here is what you need to take away. Public corporations are statutory bodies owned by the government. They provide essential services. They are established for reasons such as national security, economic development, and prevention of exploitation. Their structure includes a minister, board, management, and staff. They are controlled by the minister, parliament, audits, courts, and the public. Problems include political interference, corruption, inefficiency, and poor funding. Commercialization and privatization have been introduced to address these problems. Understanding public corporations is essential for understanding how government provides services. Practice these concepts. When you have them down, move to topic 10.